Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I read this month. I had a lot of books on my TBR for November and I probably got through about a quarter of them, but I really enjoyed them, and for me that is the sign of a good month of reading. Like, it doesn't matter how much you read, what matters is the quality of the books. Did you enjoy them? And I definitely had some 5-star reads this month. So I'm so excited to share with you what I've read. As always, just a quick plug for my Goodreads. I have a Goodreads account that's always linked below, and I'm always updating my currently reading section. I'm always updating the page numbers that I'm on as I'm reading, do reviews, and I just love connecting with you guys. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and give me a follow there. And without further ado, let's get into today's video and talk about the books that I read this month. They're pretty thick. So for this month, I read one series and started another, and these were books that I was really excited to read, but they are ginormous, and so it took me a little while to get through some of them. But first, I'm gonna start by talking about the Infernal Devices, which is part of the Shadowhunter world, written by Cassandra Clare. Guys, this series has everything. It's kind of like the Mortal Instruments, if you've read that, but it is the prequel to the Mortal Instruments series. It has vampires, werewolves, shadow hunters, which are basically like a mixture of human and angel, and they basically protect the mortal world from demons, vampires, werewolves, and all the other things. You have fairies, and the three main characters in this book are Tessa Gray, who is ambiguous. Like, she thinks that she's human, but in the first book she finds out that she's not. And the other two main characters are Will and Jem, and both of them are shadow hunters. This is like demon slaying meets Bridgerton, literally. So there were so many things in here that made me think of Bridgerton, because it's set around that same time period. It's set in London. In the first book, we meet Tessa Gray. She thinks that she's human until she's abducted by some warlocks who teach her that she has this talent that she never knew that she had. It's not really a talent, it's actually more like a power, and the power is to shapeshift into different people so she can become anyone. They're teaching her how to use this power because there's someone even more powerful than them that wants to eradicate the whole race of shadow hunters. So as she is in jail and being abused and shown how to use this power, Will and Jem show up and they rescue her. So in the first novel, she's really just learning about how she's not human like she thought she was. She's learning about her power, how to use it, and they're trying to figure out who in the world is trying to get rid of shadow hunters. There were a lot of quotable moments in this, and that's one of the things that I really love about Cassandra Clare. She always has really, really great quotes. So I did annotate this book, and this is what my annotations looked like. I underlined in pink, highlighted, and then I used this sticky tab. So there were some really great quotes in here, and I'll read this one to you. So this is when Tessa is talking about her brother, who is... That may be a spoiler, I don't know. She says that she loved him and he didn't love her back, and she felt so stupid for that. And Jem's saying, I think he did and does love you in his way, but you cannot concern yourself with that. It is a great thing to love as it is to be loved. Love is not something that can be wasted. And I was like, that is such a good quote. So there's tons of great quotes in here like that. There's some really funny moments. So Will is the other shadow hunter, and he's just so self-deprecating, and he just turns everything into a joke. There were so many funny moments in here, so I used a different sticky to mark those funny moments that I wanted to go back to that actually literally made me LOL. So the first one is The Clockwork Angel. The second book is The Clockwork Prince, and in this book, it's not very plot driven. It's really just a continuation of trying to figure out who's trying to eradicate the shadow hunters, and Tessa's still trying to figure out who she is. And I kid you not, that is all that happens in this book. But there's also a love triangle that develops, and it's extremely frustrating, and I can't talk about it because it would give away too much. But just know it is so frustrating. You don't even know who to root for. So that is the majority of this book. I haven't annotated it yet, but I do have a lot of dog-eared pages. And currently I'm reading the last one called Clockwork Princess. I'm really excited for this one because it's the last book in the series. So it should wrap up a lot of questions that we have, such as what is Tessa? Because we still don't know what she is. Is she a warlock, a fairy? She's not a human, we know that much. Is she a shadow hunter? We don't know. This book should tell us that. It should also tell us, you know, at this point we know who's trying to get rid of the shadow hunters, but it should tell us what his plan is, and I am just like, I need to find out how this ends. And lastly, you know, we have the continuation of the love triangle. Oh man, I wish I could tell you guys, but I don't want to ruin it for anyone who wants to read this. But yeah, the love triangle is really just very anxiety producing, to say the least. I'm on page 166, so I've read this much and I have this much more to go. This is my little bookmark. It's my husband cooking. Honestly, I use these as bookmarks. I just use anything. So for ratings for these books, I gave the first one 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. The second book, I gave it 4/4.5 stars. I think because it wasn't plot driven, I got bored at some parts. There was definitely a lot going on, but I don't know, it just was like kind of dragging on, and I felt like it didn't need to be this long. And I was surprised that I rated the first one higher, because usually in series they get better as they progress. And not only that, but a lot of people told me that it gets even better after the first book. But I had to be honest, and this was a 4-star read for me. The last book I'm really enjoying so far, and I think this is gonna have a higher rating because it is more plot driven and there's a lot of loose ends that are gonna be wrapped up. So you guys will be able to see what I rated this on Goodreads, but so far it's been a 5-star read for me. There's a lot of strange things happening in the beginning of this book, but the pace is really fast, and like I said, there's so much to find out that I think it'll end up being a 5-star read for me. All right, the next book that I read / the next series that I started was A Court of Thorns and Roses, also known as ACOTAR. I have been recommended this book so much. So many people told me to read it, and so I was really excited, and I had really high expectations for this book. I ended up rating this book 4 stars, and not because it wasn't good, but because there are more books in the series, obviously, and I fully expect them to be even better than this, so I had to leave room for growth, you know? So with this story, you have the mortal world and the fairy world at war with each other. After years and years of war, they're able to reach this kind of treaty for peace. And the main character of our story is Feyre, and she's human, and she breaches the treaty. So one of the fairies comes and takes her and holds her as captive. Now this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and in the beginning it really is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but as the story progresses, it definitely like diverges into its own thing. But I really enjoyed this book. It was so vivid, it was so detailed, but not like in an overbearing way that made you bored. In the beginning it was a little bit too detailed, but I also think I was just waiting for like the action to start. But once the action did start, I was hooked, and I actually could not put it down. I actually did a reading vlog for this, so I'll put a little tag or whatever it's called at the top if you want to watch that and see some of my reactions. And I do want to do reading vlogs for the other 2 books that I do have, and eventually I'm gonna have to go get the rest, but I was just planning to start with the first 3 for this month. I did not get through them, so I will continue them into next month. This book was also very quotable. There's so many pages that I dog-eared, just like so many good moments. Like I'm so excited to read the next book. If you've read it, like Fire Night, that was crazy. That's like one of the most memorable parts. Also, when they go under the mountain, there were just like a lot of questions that I was asking at the end of the reading vlog that make me super excited to go ahead and start the next book and to see where it goes, because right now something is happening, but I know that something's going to change. We're gonna have to find out. We're gonna have to read. So these were all the books that I read this month. Like I said, I had a really good month of reading. These books were extremely thick, so it took me a while to get through them, but I really enjoyed soaking them up. And like I said in my November TBR video, I really just wanted to experience some really good world building, and I felt like these books did that for me. So if you're looking for a good fantasy book, I would try either of these series. Next month I'm hoping to finish this series, but also to start the Shatter Me series, because that was another highly anticipated read for me that I did not get to this month. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun this month talking about these books with you guys in the comments and over on TikTok. I will keep you updated as I finish the ACOTAR series. If you've read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts were on them. Let me know what you thought about this series, because I feel like not too many people talk about this. Tons of people talk about ACOTAR, but like I want to know what people think about this, because I love this series. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.
When you're not here, the the sun don't shine when you're not near. I don't feel like I do when you're with me. It felt like suddenly our souls collided, hearts entwined.